YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I am in my office today because the traffic is really bad right now down in the sunroom where I was recording. And I get a lot of natural light. I moved the desk around. It used to face the window used to be behind me, now it's in front of me, so I get a lot of natural light from the window. So anyway, how is everyone? I haven't posted a video in a little while. Last Friday I went to Thy Geekdom Con. It was a convention in the Philly Expo. I just went on Friday. Mainly I just go to get stickers and like artist things. I'm not so much into merchandise. I've kind of walked away from the comic book industry since probably 10 years ago when things started to go south. I just felt that the stories were being compromised to make sure that there was inclusivity and everything. And I've dipped back in, and because I like independent comics. I'll show you my favorite. I just picked out one because I have a ton of these. So I just picked out the easiest one to pull off the shelf. But I really, really love David Peterson's Mouse Guard. It's very akin to Redwall. I can see where he took Redwall as inspiration. But yeah, it's kind of made a life of its own. It's a good story. They're all very good stories. So anyway, so I didn't get any comic books there. I got a couple stickers because I like to support the independent artists that go there on a hope and a dream. You know, they spend $300 on a table and hope they make that money back in the cost of gas. So I try to support them, but I don't have room to put prints everywhere. So I just buy stickers and put them in a sticker book. So just to minimalize. I have enough stuff. I don't need any more large things like that. So, and I got this t-shirt, the long sleeve t-shirt. Here, I'll show you. It's let me get my chair out of the way. Ugh. Yeah, it's just a t-shirt, but it has a ghost on it. And then I like sleeve graphics. So it's this torch being dropped and going out. It's not from anything, Oh, ignore my hamper. It's my hamper in the corner. Anyway, so yeah, it was weird going back to the comic because I used to dress up, the whole nine. I went to San Diego Comic-Con twice. I had to take a checked bag that was just full of shoes because I wore so many costumes, and they each had to have their own set of shoes. And so to fly from Pennsylvania to California, I had to check a bag just for costume accessories and shoes. So different times. I do kind of feel like I'm too old for that sort of thing. I'm 43, and whereas I might still have the figure to pull some of these costumes off, you can only put so much paint on a prune, I look fine au naturel, but I haven't worn makeup in a long time, but I just imagine I'd look like a clown. So anyway, my costuming days are probably behind me. Sometimes I think about it and then I talk myself out of it. But the Comic-Con had like a lot of just 3D printed figures and soap, which was really weird, like scented soaps. Just very bizarre, crafty stuff. And maybe that's just how this particular con is, because these aren't things I saw when I've gone to anime conventions. Or maybe they just have a lower bar of product, like they'll accept more things than what other normal conventions would. But there wasn't a whole lot of comic books. And I guess it's not really, it's like it doesn't really explain what it is, anime and gaming convention. So it really wasn't a Comic Con as much as and there was some gaming things, some retro games and stuff there. I kind of got away from that too. I did used to collect retro games, but I never play them. Speaking of which, I am playing a game right now. This is what's in the Switch. It's old, I know. I actually got it when it first came out, which was 2020. Got it for Christmas on 2020, but I have not beat it yet, so I'm still working my way through it. It's a very charming game. I like the humor. It's not that Marvel humor. It has puns. Puns are my favorite kind of humor, so yeah, it works for me. I like it. So anyway, I'll be playing that a little bit tonight. And I brought some of my cross stitch in. So I will show that at the end. But I want to talk about the trial. I mean, there's not much to say. I'm not really surprised, considering the circumstances, that Trump was found guilty. I don't think that the defense counsel, the prosecuting, wrong side, I don't think the prosecutor would have put so much time, energy, expense, and resources into pursuing this trial if he didn't think he was going to get a guilty verdict. Most of us could probably agree that the charges themselves don't really matter. Like, who cares? Honestly, the whole point of this is just to put a conviction against the guy. And it's kind of sad that we as a country have fallen so much that we're all high-fiving over prosecuting a president. There's just no respect for the office anymore, but they've kind of done it to themselves too. The politicians have put themselves in a position where they present to be of a different species than the rest of us, a more advanced species that knows what's best in spite of what anyone else might feel, and will act upon whatever it is they think is necessary for the people that are pulling their strings. So I don't think there's a politician in office that is really listening to us anymore. I'm sure there's exceptions. You could say there's exceptions. I'm sure you could list 5. About 5. Maybe not any more than that, but you could list 5 exceptions to that rule. But yeah, it's just not the majority. So we're also jaded already that we've lost a lot of respect for any of them. Like, who would care if this was Nancy Pelosi? What if they found Nancy Pelosi guilty of 34 felony charges? Who would care? I don't even know who votes for her. I don't think they do, honestly. She just keeps, staying in office. And there's so many other politicians that it's like, if you put them in the position that Trump was in, no one would care that they got convicted. It's kind of like the whole Martha Stewart thing. Like, they made this big deal about Martha Stewart with the insider trading. They made her sit in a cushy 5-star jail cell for 3 months. And then she went about her life. I'm sure she's already pep talking Trump, about how he'll get through this. It's just, I mean, there's no way they're going to put him in jail for, they said he could face up to 4 years per count. But think about, first of all, these charges are nonsense. It's kind of sad and a little scary about the degree that our judicial system has deteriorated. But even if they would put him in prison, like literally put him in prison, which would only be for optics, because he's certainly not a menace to society, not in the extent that you would compare him to a bank robber or a crack smoker, and even if he does go to prison, just think about the expense, because he's still a president, an ex-sitting president, and even though he's in prison, he doesn't lose his Secret Service. It's not like, oh, well, you're the exception to the rule, because it doesn't matter that he has a felony. He could still be elected as president again. So how could they even take his Secret Service? So how is the Secret Service going to stay with him if he's sitting in a jail cell? Are they just going to sit outside the jail cell, which means they're going to have to make exceptions? He's certainly not going to go to general population. He's not going to have a cellmate. They might put him on solitary, if that's even a feasible option, and then just have Secret Service watch him from the other side of the jail cell. It's just nonsense. I feel like, if anything, they might do house arrest, and then he could do that whole Ross Perot thing where he just gets his own network and puts a bunch of pie graphs behind himself and just talks all day about why he should be president, and tune into the Trump channel. But whatever the case, it's not going to change anyone's mind. I don't think there's many people out there because everybody's so angry. I just don't think there's many people out there that are going to be like, well, I was going to vote for Trump, but now that they locked him up, I just don't think I can trust him anymore. Maybe there's 10 people in the whole country that will say that, but most of them are going to say, I don't care, because they know if they're voting for Trump, they're voting for Trump because they know how corrupt things have gotten, and they feel like he's the only way that it's going to get fixed. I'm sad to say that the Democratic Party has not really given us a better solution. I would love to see a better solution, but they're just giving us Biden. And things have not been going well lately, so I don't know if that's really the best option for us, but I also wanted to say that this whole thing with Trump has reminded me of a lot of circumstances with his presidency, where we would hear some bombshell situation, the Steele dossier, Russiagate, Comey, and Stormy Daniels Part 1. All this stuff came out while he was in office. And every single time it was like, oh, we need to impeach. We need to, get him out of office. He's not fit to be president. He's not mentally competent. And, that whole thing about they had to have a press conference with the doctor that did his physical to make sure that he didn't have dementia. Wasn't that ironic? And every single time he just ended up landing on his feet like a cat. So, they keep throwing him out of a higher window and he keeps landing on his feet. So it would get very stressful for the MAGAs. And back in the day, I had a lot of hope for Trump. And so it was really stressful when these things would happen, but then, and it would almost be a 24-hour turnaround. Some days you'd hear something and you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Is he done? And then the very next day you find out the whole thing's fake. It just happens so often. So I don't know. I just feel like he's going to house cat out the window and land on his feet again. He just always seems to do that. So I I have not really thought much of Trump in the past year. I've not watched him at all because it's hard to. He's only on his, Truth Social or at the rallies, but I did watch the Libertarian Party speech he gave at their convention, and I watched the interview he did with Tim Pool, and he said, the last time he was president, he came into the office not really knowing the people there, like he knew Wall Street, not like he knew New York. He'd only been in Washington 17 times before that in his whole life, and he put trust in the wrong people, and he said he's not making that mistake again. So I think he's angrier, and I feel like his mentality represents a lot of the rest of us in this country, just broker, angrier, and fed up. And I feel like there's going to be a lot of reform. I mean, he's even alluded to that with his speeches as far as the judicial system. They are taking a lot of liberties that could be downright illegal as far as how they interpret due process and how they hold people in prison without trial. It's concerning that they are making examples of people so that it becomes dangerous to speak about your opinions in any way. Like, everyone's afraid to be criticizing of anything because you don't know where the tides are going to turn. And the internet has no amnesia of the history. Like, they forget nothing. I mean, James Gunn had some tweet brought up that was 14 years old to try to get his career ended. These things have no merit, but they also have no, they don't wither with time. There's no memory hole on the internet. So, yeah, I hope that nobody acts irrationally. I think that we all just need to take a breath and see what happens. Trump's pissed right now, but he's also composed. And like, I saw his speech after the verdict. He came out and said this was a disgrace, but he was a gentleman. So I think it's important that we all kind of remain at that level of decorum and not get a little freaked out. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about the trial and the upcoming election and everything going on. My news sources, I occasionally watch Tim Pool until I can't stand listening to them all trying to talk over each other. If they have an interesting guest speaker, I'll endure, but most of the time I might just listen to the first 30 minutes and then I get sick of it and tune it out. And I watch Michael Knowles on the Daily Wire, so judge that as you will, but Michael Knowles is a devout Catholic. I've listened to many of his opinions on religious concepts. I really respect his insight. So I am not Catholic, but I feel like I learn a lot from him. So those are usually where I hear most everything about what's going on. So yes, they are definitely slanted in one direction. Right-leaning, right to the center, kind of. So anyway, I'll show you what I've been working on. So I got the circle. I just added a sticker. This is from Squirrel Sprout Illustrations. I thought it looked like me after working all week, and I'm just like, oh. Yeah. And I like how, like, this is a chameleon finish. I just got this is at Walmart for like $30. Like I'm not a Stanley Cup fanatic. I just like the finish of this and then the foil of the sticker. So I'm eventually going to add more. I'm just doing a trial sticker to see if it's going to get peeled off by little hands. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I'm just trying to drink these instead of Sprite from McDonald's. I also found out I was vastly anemic, so I've avoided medical issues into my 40s, not had any serious medical issues, like, you know, I mean, I've had surgeries from motor vehicle accident or whatever, but I'm not diabetic, I don't have heart disease, I don't have kidney disease, you know, COPD, I'm not a smoker. Like, there's a lot of things that I've been able to win out on in the condition lottery, but I am anemic. Well, that kind of explains this wispy thin hair I have. So I'm hoping that, I mean, most of it's back here. Don't think this is all I have, but I keep it tied back because it's so wispy and thin. So I'm hoping that that'll thicken up with iron supplements. I'm started those, and it definitely, I can feel a difference as far as my energy goes. I don't get dizzy every time I stand up, so that's good. But yeah, I'm learning. I guess my last blood work, my hemoglobin was 7.5, and I had it drawn again today after taking iron pills twice a day for a week, and it is 8.3. So I feel a lot better today than I did when I was at 7.5. That, because it messes with your brain. Like, your brain goes in a fog and just staring off into the, watching stupid YouTube videos, like amusement park ride YouTube videos and stuff. Nothing of any intellectual content. No desire to cross stitch, you know, just no desire to do anything. So it's better now. But anyway, okay, cross stitch. Tonight I'm working on Watchers of the Dawn. So the whole top row's done. I went all the way over and kind of circled down here, and I'm coming back. And I don't know why I don't just stitch him in, because he's like gray or something, but I just went over here instead. So I eventually have to go back and finish him. But I'm right now working on this. It's like a grapevine, and it has a caterpillar on it, and then there's a pink background. So I'm hoping to get this done, him, and then there's this black square over here with some wording in it. I want to get all that done by the end of the year. And then I think there's like just one more row underneath, if I can remember correctly. But anyway, my goal is to just get this second row done in its entirety by the end of this year. So I've been trying to work on it a little bit every month, and I'm counting this as June, even though it's still May. I'm just starting my June stuff. So I'm also doing a stitch along Deadly Aquarium by Lola Crow. This is her third. She did Haunted Library and Poisonous Gazebo or something. I don't remember the name of the second one. I have the Haunted Library. I started it, but I set it aside because now I'm working on Deadly Aquarium. So I did the frame. This is the whole frame of the aquarium, and then they just this past Friday released the first section, which is this little guy here. So here's the entire frame, and then here's the first inhabitant of the Deadly Aquarium, which is a moray eel. And I really like this what do you call it? Deep dive helmet or whatever. With all the back stitching, I think it looks really cool. So I will that says, see, the Deadly Aquarium on it, but I will try to show updates of this as I go along, because I'm staying on top of the segments as they come out. So I'll be able to have this completed by August. I think that's the trajectory, so I'll keep updating you on that. And then I also got this Barbara Anna Designs. The name of the pattern is Light. It's a Christmas pattern, but she released it on her website during COVID as a free pattern because everybody was like locked in their houses and had nothing to do. So she's like, here, have a free pattern. So the way I have it in the frame, you can see most of it. So I'm not going to get it out of the Q-snap, but this is what it looks like. I got this from a friend at the cross stitch retreat. She gave me her pattern because she finished hers and she didn't have use for the paper pattern anymore. So I jumped right on it because I just love foxes. Chaos Reigns. Carpetbagger channel got me into foxes. So anyway, I like foxes. And so, yeah, I really liked this as soon as I saw it. So all I have to do, I mean, everything is done except this strip right here. So I'm kind of working on it sporadically. I'm hoping to have this finished by the end of June. As I do, you know, in between doing other things. So anyway, that's what I'm working on right now. I'll show you some other stuff in my next video. I don't have anything else pulled out right now. So anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough, don't you? As always, it's a pleasure talking with you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!